is going on, everybody? What is going on? The catch fam. I hope you guys are doing fantastic tonight. Hope everyone has had a great Sunday. Hope you guys are looking forward to a great week as we are in the month of August, ladies and gentlemen. It is prime fantasy football draft season. Only a month away from the 2025 NFL season starting. So we got a lot of work to do, a lot of preparation left for the upcoming off season as we approach the 2025 fantasy football season. So you guys know what we're doing tonight. Gonna hop into a live 2025 fantasy football draft on Underdog Fantasy. And then after that, we're going to run a live 2025 fantasy football mock draft as well. So make sure you guys hang around. I'm going to send out the invite for tonight's mock in the YouTube chat. And then, if it's not filling or whatever, then I will go ahead and throw it in the Discord chat as well. All right, we've got quite a few different tournaments open tonight. So I'll give it a minute or two, see if any of you guys hop in here, if you guys have any preference, and we will go from there. But yeah, we got a couple topics to go over tonight for sure, and some training camp news that will definitely impact fantasy football and where we are at this current point in the off season. So make sure you guys get in here, hop in the live chat. Any fantasy football questions that you guys have, redraft, dynasty, or best ball, let me know. And let's get to it, boys and girls. It's going to be a good stream tonight. And like I said, we are getting very close to the actual fantasy season. So I am getting excited. And anything that you guys need, start sit questions. I don't think we're quite there, quite ready for start sit questions, but some of you guys have already actually drafted your fantasy team. So let me know if you guys have lineup questions. Drop, ads, drops, all that stuff. But, if you guys know your draft position for the upcoming fantasy season, let me know. If you guys have roster reviews, let me know. If you guys have general fantasy football questions, let me know. All right, I think I'm going to hop into one of the cheaper tournaments tonight. We got the Husky at a $40 entry, 10 entry max. We got another Flock Community Contest. Number 2 already. I guess I missed number 1. 3 entry max. And then we got some palms going on. Let's enter a palm, baby. That's my favorite. One of my favorites. I might hop into a Flock soon as well. I would imagine. I mean, they did a limit on this, but I imagine that would fill pretty quickly. So I'm gonna enter a palm right now. 20 seconds per pick. $3 entry. Just 4 spots. If you guys are in here, you do want to draft with me. Make sure you guys hop in there. Sorry, I didn't do a countdown or anything, but we're live and active, and the draft is filled. So let's get into it. I don't think I see any familiar usernames. Savvy Joe, right? Maybe. Let me know if you guys are in here with me. And let's throw together a great squad for the upcoming season. All right. Let me see here. Let me get everything pulled up here. Let me know how you guys are doing in the chat, what you guys got going on. And very quickly here, I'm going to run through some training camp news. Let me get the poll set up. So reverse at the bottom of the chat is Savvy Joe. I was like, I know I remember that username from one of you guys, but let's go, man. Glad to have you in here. And we'll see where the stream takes us tonight. I'm planning on just one underdog draft tonight and then the mock draft afterwards. So yeah, if I wasn't clear, we are going to do a mock draft on Sleeper as well. So make sure you guys are hanging around. If you guys want to join that, I'm going to send out the invite in the YouTube chat. So if you guys want to get in tonight, it's make sure that you guys are in. Make sure that you're hanging around in the stream tonight. All right. Let's see here. We got a couple of situations to go over. Some of them I'm not as excited to talk about, but they are important. All right, Bills wide receiver Khalil Shakir is week to week with a high ankle sprain. So this is not great news. I mean, I've been a Khalil Shakir supporter throughout the course of the offseason, especially in full PPR formats. Um, this doesn't mean like his season is doomed or anything. We don't really have any clear indication on how serious this issue is in terms of Khalil Shakir and the high ankle sprain. But it's like, if you've been drafting Keon Coleman late, you're a Keon Coleman truther. If you've been drafting Josh Palmer late, even getting Dalton Kincaid shares, then this is probably good news. But I'm going to assume that as the season starts to progress, we are going to get Khalil Shakir perfectly fine and out there on the field. So I'm not going to panic too much about the Khalil Shakir situation, but it's certainly not great. So let me know your guys' thoughts on Shakir. Like I said, I mean, I've drafted a lot of Khalil Shakir, especially in like redraft settings, full PPR. I liked his value a lot. I think like naturally his ADP will kind of drop here. Nothing crazy significant. He's already going pretty late, right? So I don't think that there's going to be a huge drop in ADP in a redraft format. ADP of 83.4, and like for me, I would say a full PPR format is where I like Shakir, right? An underdog, for example, where it's half PPR, he's had a little bit of a lower value to me. But overall, absolutely been really high on him. All right, the fact that I'm getting Amon-Ra St. Brown and I'm turning around and getting Brian Thomas Jr. here makes me super, super happy. Nonetheless, let me know what you guys think about Khalil Shakir. Keenan Allen met with the Chargers. We had talked about this as a potential landing spot. His ADP on Sleeper is still 218.4. He's a very late round target on Underdog as well. And I would say that if Keenan Allen lands with the Chargers, I mean, you're obviously going to start to see him drafted. He was relatively productive last year on a bad offense. I know he's age 32 going into his 13th season, but he was a top 35 wide receiver in fantasy last year. Off his 70 catches, had 744 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns through just 15 games. So Chargers a good landing spot. If he goes to a team like Washington or San Francisco, those are the other kind of teams we've been watching for potential Keenan Allen landing. I mean, these are all still scenarios where Keenan Allen becomes a viable fantasy option in 2025, especially at his given ADP. So keep an eye on that situation as well. Then a big one here, AJ Brown dealing with a hamstring injury, not practicing as of 9 hours ago. The severity of this injury is not clear, but the Eagles are being cautious, and he's considered day to day. This could be something that is not a huge issue whatsoever, something that blows over, kind of like the Jahmyr Gibbs hamstring injury last offseason that ended up being a nothing burger. But you never know, right? I know some people are like, I have felt like the reaction to Justin Jefferson's injury, that is also a hamstring injury, has been a little bit more worrisome overall, right? People have been a little bit more worried about JJ overall than I kind of anticipated. Because you look at a player like Justin Jefferson or an AJ Brown, like, I mean, these are veterans. We know exactly what we're going to get out of AJ Brown. So I'm still going to choose to not panic. We're still far enough away from the beginning of the season that, we know what to get out of JJ and AJ Brown when they're on the field, but it's certainly something to monitor. And it is going to probably impact, I would say, AJ Brown's fantasy stock just slightly. Like we've seen JJ fall. I mean, look at the tonight's draft. JJ's gone at the 1.7. AJ Brown's still gone at the 2.5, which I'm perfectly fine with. But we might see AJ Brown just take a little of a tick back overall. All right, Matthew Stafford and the back issue. This is another one that I was really choosing to not panic on. It is worth noting he's been seeing a back specialist on a regular basis, and he's still not practicing. This is not great news. Once again, like my theory with Stafford is like, I mean, we always see Matthew Stafford banged up. So like what I don't know. This is a tough one. Let me know your guys' panic level on Matthew Stafford overall. I feel like this is one where people are starting to get worried. And I think I'm close to being worried because Matthew Stafford is age 16, or excuse me, age 16, age 37 going into his 16th year. He's definitely not 16 years old. That would be very impressive if he was. But, you know, I, I, I think that people will worry about this situation. And I think it's starting to get fair to worry about it where I wasn't as personally worried about it maybe a little bit earlier in the off season as like a week ago, right? So see what happens. All right, let me make these 2 draft picks. I feel like this draft's going by relatively fast. I think those are all the major things I wanted to go over. But I think there's a couple players with groin. Yeah, okay. Josh Palmer is working through a groin injury. Hold on, man. I really wanted JSN here. I will take Brees Hall pretty confidently there. Good end of the third value in my eyes. Rashee Rice, Scary Terry. I think Terry's going to get it done. I think he's going to end up being a really good value where he's at in drafts. So give me Terry McLaurin there. Yeah. So sorry, we talked about Khalil Shakir, and I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Josh Palmer of the Bills also dealing with a groin injury. So Dalton Kincaid stocks up. Keon Coleman stocks, which I have not been a Keon Coleman truther. Right now, if you've been high on Keon Coleman, then I think that you're probably feeling pretty good right now. James Conner on Trey Benson is saying we're both the RB1. He's going to play a lot this year. I wouldn't overreact to this report. I feel like this is James Conner being a good teammate. Like I don't think I'm going to overreact to James Conner complimenting a young running back in that same backfield. But people are definitely overreacting to that report. Benson's still a great handcuff, though. Don't get me wrong. Cam Scatabo is dealing with a hamstring injury and had a setback in practice on Friday. He's going to miss some time. He's considered day-to-day via Brian Daboll, head coach of the Giants. So, I mean, I've been pretty high on Tyrone Tracy throughout this offseason. And it's not like Scadabo's season's over. It's not like Josh Palmer's season or Khalil Shakir or A.J. Brown. It's not like any of these guys' season is over. I mean, it's almost better that they would get injured now as opposed to like the last week of August, right? So I still think Tracy's a very good value, and I think that Scadabo will take a little bit of a hit in ADP at the moment. But once again, this could be a nothing burger that blows over, but he is going to miss some time, and the setback does not feel great. Okay, I think that's everything. Let me know in the chat if I forgot anything. But we do have some injuries out there to more like defensive players, offensive linemen that have happened over the past week. So I mean that stuff something to monitor as well. All right. Randon, what's going on, my guy? I have the 1-3 in a 10-team PPR league. I know for a fact I'll get Jamar Chase because I know who the other 2 are grabbing. What should be my strategy going into the draft? Wow. Chase at the 1-3 feels very good. I mean, if I'm you, it's going to completely, I guess I don't know. I don't want to give the answer if it's going to depend on who's there, but if you know you're starting with a receiver in the first round, coming from the 1-3 in a 10-man league, coming back to your second round and third round selection, you should confidently, as the way ADP sits right now, be able to land a running back in the tier of Jacobs, Bucky, JT. There should be one of those players there. Now, if you're in a draft that ends up being running back heavy, then maybe the selections aren't as good. I think the value of running back there outweighs wide receiver. Now, if like Ladd McConkey or JSN falls, I would consider one of those 2 because you look at the receivers going into the beginning of the third for you. Higgins, Hill, Garrett Wilson. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that tier per se, but I would personally be going for sorry, let me make these 2 draft picks. Wow. I guess give me DeAndre Swift. I feel like the value of all positions on the board right now is awful. I don't want to draft Travis Hunter because I have B-Tom on this team, so I'm going to go a little against ADP and draft Jordan Addison, these are literally two of my most drafted players, Swift and Addison. So Amon-Ra, B-Tom, Breece Hall, Terry, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison. There's the beginning of the draft for you. But yeah, you look at the receivers there. I just don't know if I want to start with Chase and Higgins. Like, I'm not against it. And I certainly have been really high on Higgins throughout this offseason. But I think I'd try to go Chase, Ladd, or JSN, and then see what running back is left over. I mean, really, you get anyone from Jacobs, Bucky, JT, Kyron, Chase Brown, Hampton, or even Cook, I'm happy. If you go Chase and then running back to get a higher selection of running back out of that tier, maybe to secure Jacobs, Bucky, or JT, then I'm going to turn around and I'm probably just going to draft Garrett Wilson because I'm the highest on that tier wide receiver on Garrett Wilson. But if you end up with a Tyreek Hill or a Higgins, I think it's fine. You just have to live with the fact that if you do get Higgins and Chase, you're going to look at, maybe some down weeks if the offense doesn't play great, but we're going to expect that offense to be really good. Full PPR, I'm probably trying to grab 2 receivers, 1 running back. You could also, of course, if you wanted to, start with Chase, of course, right? And then just go back-to-back running backs in the second and third. Once again, that tier, Jacobs, Bucky, JT, Kyron, Chase Brown, Hampton, Cook, go ahead and grab 2 of those guys, then go receiver in the 4th and 5th. You should be able to land like a Devonta Smith, Xavier Worthy, maybe a DJ Moore or J-Mo in the 4th if you go with that strategy. Then in the 5th, I would target like a George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison. I think that's a very solid start as well, especially in full PPR. And like you're kind of going double hero running back, but you're not really starting until the second round. But I still think like if you're able to land 2 of Jacobs, Bucky, JT, that entire tier we went over for the second and the tier we went over for the third, turn around, go receiver in the 4th and 5th. I'm okay with that. I think that there's good enough value at receiver. And I will say that the value of receiver in the 4th and 5th probably outweighs the value of running back that you'll see at that point in the draft. So sorry, try to give you guys a couple of different scenarios just in case. What's going on, Tommy? Andrea, Space Ghost, good to see everybody. This is that time of year. Let's go. Reverse is in the house. What's up, bro? Glad to have you drafting with us. Can't see Washington moving on from Terry, but if they did, how are you valuing their remaining receivers? I don't know. Listen, I have talked about Debo throughout the course of the offseason. I was like, a guy that I do think more people should consider like getting some stock of. And I think he fits the offense well, but I think he fits the offense if Terry McLaurin is there. I don't quite know how I feel about Debo if Terry's not there. I am with you. I don't see Washington moving on from Terry as well. I think a deal gets done. It's a little bit of a complex situation here for sure. But I mean, I think Debo rises, but it's like who else for anybody really like could potentially rise here? It's kind of my issue. Let me make these 2 picks. I want to get Goff on this team. Wow, Jared Goff's pretty low in ADP. I still like Shakir here. I think I'm just going to wrap up my running back room with Brian Robinson. But yeah, I mean, we look at Washington right now, and I mean, I think Washington could be in a lot of trouble if Terry McLaurin is not on this team. I think it'll negatively impact Jaden Daniels, both running backs, the whole offense. I mean, we got Debo, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, Noah Brown. Like, the thing is, like, I think Debo confidently gets a bump. But in terms of who would be the true wide receiver 2, it's kind of a fight between Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, and Noah Brown. And then maybe like a rookie like Jalen Lane, for example, coming in. Um, I I would say if Terry's not on the offense, it's going to be a stay away situation, except for a small amount of exposure to Debo Samuel and Zach Ertz. But I mean, Zach Ertz is also age 34, going into his 13th season at the tight end position, so might be good for Eckler. Like I said, I don't think it's good for anybody, but like Eckler, Ertz, Debo, as long as their ADP isn't like drastically different, those are the guys I'm looking at. But like, I mean, could we look at a potential trade where Terry gets traded and another receiver gets comes in here as part of the trade? I don't quite know. There's a report going around that the Steelers have contacted Washington about Terry, and it's like I just don't know, man. I think it's going to get done personally. I'll be very sad if it doesn't. Not many questions yet, still early, but who would you rather have, Brian Thomas Jr. or AJ Brown? I mean, I've been really high on both of these players throughout the course of the offseason. I don't think there's really a wrong answer. I love that kind of tier of wide receiver in the drafts. Nico, Brian Thomas, Drake London, AJ Brown, Ladd McConkey. I think JSN should be right at the end of that tier personally. I think Higgins, Garrett Wilson, I like a lot as well. But yeah, I'm going to go BTJ. It's not by, I don't want to say it's by a lot, but I still think it's pretty close between the two. I think it'll be really interesting to see Brian Thomas Jr. on the field with Travis Hunter there to help some defensive pressure not exist. But ultimately, I think the upside still lies with BTJ. Not that I don't think AJ Brown has upside, though. I do think that the Eagles will throw the football more this year in comparison to last year. All right, I might have to reach for Jared Goff here, which I'm not excited about. No offense, Jared Goff. If you're listening, I just don't like the way it shakes out the ADP here. Maybe I hold off on Goff and I go T-Law. That's what I'm going to do. So give me Rashad Bateman, and I might go with a like standalone quarterback here and like a Justin Fields. Wouldn't have minded going Evan Ingram there. Yeah, I think I go BTJ, but not by a crazy amount. All right, Fields is gone, so give me Bateman. And give me Christian Kirk. Let's add some depth to wide receiver. And then I got picks 132, 133. There's a chance that T-Law gets sniped from whoever selected Hunter. Just right here. I think I'm Mahomes. Definitely a possibility. We'll try and go T-Law. See what happens. Unless Goff somehow falls. I mean, sometimes we see a big fall at quarterback. I probably need to go tight end with this next pick. If not, maybe I add some running back depth. We'll see what happens. Malik Neighbors or Nico. Oh. And to add to this last question, I mean, maybe for some people, the hamstring injury puts AJ Brown confidently lower. I don't know. Malik Neighbors or Nico. It's still Neighbors for me. I am starting to get a little bit worried about Neighbors because he has been dealing with that shoulder injury, although apparently he is good to go, recovered from it. The Giants are saying that they have a plan, but then there's also like the looming toe issue with Malik Neighbors. And then there's still the fact that while the quarterback play will be better than last year, quarterback play is still not great on paper. But I mean, Neighbors is a player that I've been really confident in all offseason long in terms of being like in the elite tier of wide receiver ones. So I'm not going to give up yet. And I think the upside is higher, but I'm very high on Nico. I mean, once again, that tier of wide receivers, I don't feel bad about anybody whatsoever. Not even close. And I think Neighbors, I'll take I'll take the chance on earlier in draft. So I'll say I'm higher on Neighbors. Just notice my home league is August 24th at 5. Catch Fam draft is the 24th at 6. There you go. That's fun. Back to back. Got the 1-2 in League 3. Don't like it. Yeah, I think I got an early draft pick as well. Thoughts on Brian Robinson's ceiling? Panic draft him in the 7th round. Need a flex / RB2. I mean, that's basically what Brian Robinson is. His ceiling, if he could stay fully healthy, I mean, I don't think his ceiling is bad. The issue with Brian Robinson over the last 2 years is that, or 3 years, that he's never played in a full season. But, you know, I mean, through the first couple of weeks of the year last year, through the first 5 weeks, you know, it's like a top 6 running back. And if I'm not mistaken, basically the same thing happened in the previous season, 2023. So the issue is the injuries, and that limits his ceiling. But and then now, you know, Jaden Daniels being a running quarterback also will limit his ceiling to a degree as well. But yeah, I mean, he's a low end RB2 who is a viable flex option. And I don't know. I mean, maybe if we do see no Terry McLaurin on this team, well, then there is a possibility that the run game becomes a lot more crucial to this offense. All right, give me Trevor Lawrence. Tucker Kraft's dealing with a groin injury. I don't know if I'm going to panic on that one. I'll go Dalton Kincaid here. Since he has 2 receivers hurt, Tucker Kraft's dealing with a groin injury. There seems to be a lot of groin injuries piling up. Don't know what's going on with that. I got picks 156, 157. Still need at least one more running back on this team. Don't know if I'm going to be super pumped with some of the available names. See what happens. Still need some wide receiver depth, but I'll probably hold off for a bit. I feel like there's better dart throws at receiver late. And we're definitely going to need some tight end help. I'm going to try and get Brenton Strange on this team. He's going to go right in that range. And if not, I'll go Hunter Henry. I do feel like I'm drafting a lot of Hunter Henry lately, though. So I'm going to say Austin Eckler, Braylon Allen, Brenton Strange, Hunter Henry, my next targets. Kind of handcuffing Hall or B-Rob with those picks, but that's okay. I do need a QB2. And there's no one left in terms of a stack. So for QB2, we're really just going best available player. We'll see what happens. What draft picks the leagues I am in? I don't think any of them have been determined yet. If Stafford goes down, Jimmy G should be able to hold it down somewhat. Somewhat is true. Did do decent with the Niners, but it has been some time. Better RB2 option, Tracy or B-Rob. I'm kind of leaning Tracy on this one. And I do like B-Rob enough. I mean, they're going back-to-back in terms of ADP, essentially. It's kind of hard to say with what we really expect that Washington offense to be right now. I think I'm going Tracy. But it's still close. When do you think they'll announce the suspension for Rice? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. It's very, very difficult to say. Hopefully soon. Bryce, what's going on, man? If T-Pro, no, absolutely not. No, we don't swap picks. Absolutely not. B-Rob over Tracy for me. Yeah, I mean, there's really it's really, pick your own poison there. I mean, I guess B-Rob is tied to the better offense. I'm just kind of worried about Washington's offense right now. Like, I think Terry's going to be there, so I'm really trying not to worry. But there's a scenario if Terry's not there, what exactly does it look like? I might go back-to-back running backs here. I pick 180. What tight ends are in that range? Oh, well, never mind. I'm going to go Hunter Henry. I do feel like I'm drafting a lot of Henry lately. And then I'll go Braylon Allen. Get some good coach speak on Braylon Allen. I feel like we have been all off season, though. And this team does have Breece Hall, so it's a good little handcuff, so to speak. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more picks. Picks 180 and 181. I do need to get some quarterback help. And I don't quite know what it's going to look like. Putting a lot of pressure on T-Law at this team. Yeah, B-Rob over Tracy's fine. It's super close. I feel like Neighbors upside is top 3, 100%. I think his upside is wide receiver 1, honestly. I am a little worried about the toe thing, though. I think I'm more worried about that than the shoulder injury. J-Dubs, what's going on, man? Hit the light. All right. I am going to start setting up the mock draft. We'll be running that on Sleeper. I'm going to send it out when I do these next 2 picks. So when I do picks 180 and 181, and we just have, 3 rounds left at that point, then we'll start filling it. So if you guys are going to try and hop in the mock tonight, make sure you guys are paying attention. It's going to be first come, first serve. I'm going to do no random order tonight. Okay, so if you guys know, I think it's the month of August. So usually in August is when I stop doing random order. That way, if you guys do know your draft position and like an upcoming draft, you guys can practice from that spot. And I do have to hop in the draft before you guys. So don't be mad if I took your spot. But I'm going to draft from like the 1-5 tonight. Man, Donta Thornton is a player that I've been targeting in these later rounds of best ball drafts, and he's definitely rising in ADP. Definitely rising. Mando says, Cortland Sutton's ceiling. Might start him as my flex for most of the year. Ended up with back-to-back picks of Puka Neighbors. Yeah, I think Sutton is a great flex option. I think, quite frankly, his ceiling is probably about what we saw last year, a wide receiver 15. I mean, maybe a little bit higher, like a wide receiver 12 to 15. It's very dependent on, Bo Nix truly taking a step forward. But when you look to last year, like, Bo Nix really started to get going. He was okay week 3, but like week 5 is really when he started to get going. So you look at Sutton from week 5 was bad for Sutton, coincidentally enough. Sorry, let me make these 2 picks. Man, I got to draft Sam Darnold. Dang it. The same bye week. I'm going to draft Keenan Allen. Maybe I should have just gone like Johnny Smith, Keenan Allen. He's got the same bye week as T loss. No, I'm definitely going to draft a third quarterback. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, Sutton had a bad week 5, and that really weird game week 7 against the Saints. But outside of that, I mean, he was double digit points in every game, every other game. And so 4 of those games, he had 10 to 15 points. Every other game, he had 16 and a half or more. So, if we can kind of replace, because the beginning of the season last year for the Broncos did not look great. If we can kind of replace that blip, expect Nix to pick up where he started, then I think Sutton can improve. And like I said, he's still wide receiver 15 last year. I think he can get a little bit higher than that. But I think that there's just too many good players in front of him at the position. But I do like him a lot. He's a very good flex. If you have Puka, Neighbors, and then Sutton as your wide receiver 3, I would be feeling pretty good. All right. If you guys want to get in on the mock draft, that'll be right after this Underdog draft. The link is in the chat. First come, first serve. No random order tonight. Albert, what's going on, man? Good to see you. All right, 2 more rounds, and then we're going to hop into the mock draft on Sleeper as well. I feel like this draft, we're at 36 minutes. I guess it didn't go too slow. All right, I'm going to send out the invite on Discord as well. You guys had first dibs. No random order on the mock tonight. I got to take a quarterback who's not on bye week in week 8. I guess it's Tyler Shuck. Shuck, Danny Dimes. I'm going to go Danny Dimes. I feel like I haven't drafted Danny Dimes. And I just need him for week 8. That's it. All right, let's take a dart throw on Keandre Lambert-Smith. Mando, you're very welcome. Always happy to help you guys. All right, the mock is very open. We have quite a few spots. Let's see. Tommy, got my draft spot for league number 3, 1.2. Going to try something different. Let's do it. Snipe Keandre Lambert-Smith, my bad. Josh Reynolds, an interesting pick there at the end. Yeah, I was going to go Dewami Brown or Dontavion Wicks, but I didn't. That preseason game gets me all fired up. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead and switch over to the mock reverse. Thank you for drafting with me. Underdog draft over. Maybe we'll hop into another one after this, see how I feel. And let's get this mock filled, boys and girls. Link is in the chat. I'll go ahead and pin it for everybody. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. No rando order tonight. If you guys are in playing in our upcoming fantasy leagues. We have a few spots open. $20 buy-ins. I'm trying to save a couple spots. But things are filling very quickly, and some of you guys are trying to have me save spots, but you haven't paid yet. If everyone who has an invite paid, I'd have one spot left, but including people who haven't paid, I have 5 spots left. So if there is a need for an additional league, I will put together that league, but I got to get like 12 people together who want to join before I do that. I don't want to like have a few people pay for a league and then we don't have enough people or whatever. So we'll see. But yeah, if you guys do want to join any of the fantasy leagues this year, they are filling, and it's $20 buy-in. Let me know on Discord. Discord chat or invite is in the description down below. And once you guys send me a DM, I will send you an invite to the league safe. You guys pay up. Once you've paid your $20 fee, I'll send you an invite on Sleeper or for the Sleeper link. All right. Brayden, hopefully it lets you get in here, man. I sent the link again. I don't know if that made a difference. River, what's going on, man? Look at that. We got 2 Patriots fans, I think, back to back there. Where are you drafting Hunter in an IDP league where he's projected top 5 besides quarterbacks? I'm probably drafting him number 1 overall if it's IDP. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was thinking like a rookie mock draft for a second there. I don't play a lot of I don't play IDP straight up. So I don't even know like what the draft order looks like. Like I said, in like a rookie mock, I'm drafting him number 1 overall, but that's not what you're asking. I don't know. I can't answer it adequately. Oops. Let me know. So he's projected top 5 besides the quarterbacks. I still think I'm probably drafting him pretty high. Hold on, I'm going to try and wow, IDP is just completely different world, dude. When I look up IDP rankings, it's just showing defensive players, though. It doesn't have the offensive players included. Man, maybe I should start an IDP league. That'd be a whole journey. Maybe we should do one this year. I feel like I've done IDP like once in my life, like a long time ago. All right, 1 spot. Somebody come take the spot, please. Braden got in. Let's go. He's projected to only go behind Chase, Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley, CMC. So there's no other defense. Like he's supposed to be the number 1 defensive player. I mean, that makes sense. And even the rankings I'm looking at don't have, they're not updated. Be nice to see a list that has offensive linemen included. All right. Let me send out a final warning and then we're starting the draft. I'm not going to neglect this topic, but I'm letting you know straight up. I'm not an IDP guy. All right, let's do it, boys and girls. Draft is live. Hold on 1 second. All right. Yeah, I can't see any rankings that have. I just want to see a ranking that has the offensive players included. I mean, he is. I mean, that makes sense. He's projected to be the number one out of all defensive players. He's projected number one. Hunter, Zach Bond, Aiden Hutchinson, TJ Watt, Brian Branch, Crosby. All right, let's see. Gotta make sure he's getting offensive points as well as defensive points. Plus, some leagues are like, oh, I'm on the clock. My bad. I'm gonna go Saquon here, but some leagues are like making it. Even in IDP leagues, are making it so Hunter is really only. I mean, obviously, it doesn't sound like your league is, but some leagues are making it so. No, he's only valued as a receiver or corner. He's only gonna get the points for one or the other. And then some are saying even in redraft formats. But a lot of leagues like have it updated already for like I think Sleeper and a couple other leagues already have it so Hunter's just projected as a receiver. So like you don't have to worry about it if you're in a non-IDP league. I mean, I would say generally speaking, I'm probably taking him at his ADP. But yeah, if it's a joint, you're drafting offensive players and defensive players, you have to view him as the number one defensive player. And I don't think it's crazy to reach for him. All right, let me see. Still trying to find a ranking that has both defense and offensive players. I feel like I don't know why that's so hard to find. Tommy says CD at the 1-2. Let's see how this goes. I'm not against it. I'm really not against any of those first 6 or 7 players off the board, however you want to value them. Still probably going Chase number 1, then Bijan number 2. But after that, I mean, whatever direction you want to go, I think it's fine. Man, I want to go like Bucky or Jacobs with this pick. I want to go double hero RB. I don't think that's happening anymore. I have a tough time passing on Lad McConkey there. Yeah. I want to go double hero running back, but oh well. Little run at the running back position there with C-Mac, A-Chain, Bucky, and Jacobs. Jay Fitness, what's going on, my dude? Hello, hello. Gaming with Wario. Good to have you in the house. What's up, guys? Going to build a good team. I believe you. JJ and Jacobs, a nice little start. A-Chain at 2.5 is still very good value there. It makes sense. You know, still when you look at the players selected before him, it's a very good value. Don't get me wrong. Still not absolutely crazy here. You really look at that tier, like the back end of the second round. You could see any of those guys go in any order. AJ Brown, Genty, B. Tom, Henry, Lundo, C-Mac, A-Chain, and Nico. I am seeing Amon-Ra fall more lately. Puka, I'm not seeing fall as often, but even Puka at the 110 is a great value. So I think the big thing is you look from the 1-1 basically all the way to the 2-5. Any of those players can go in any order. Ladd falls out tonight, but I'm not like opposed to Bucky and Jacobs going before him per se. Rank these running backs, wide receivers. I'd be able to take as my first picks around 5 through 7 super flex. Connor Chuba, Monty Swift, Aaron Jones, Harvey Johnson, Tony P, Sutton, Devonta Pickens, Ridley, J-Mo. We talked a little bit about this last stream, right? So that's rounds 5, 6, and 7, 3 picks. Or don't you have a couple picks in this area? Man, I really wanted Chase Brown here. I didn't think he was going to be there, but that's who I wanted. I literally almost took Chase Brown at the 2-8. JT Carr and Chase Brown. I'm fine with any of those guys there. If you think about it, like if you go double hero running back, you're able to go Barkley, Jacobs, or Bucky. I love that. Barkley, Kyron, JT, Chase Brown, I'm also good with. I was hoping I could kind of do that same approach and get Chase Brown at the 3-5. Unrealistic. So we'll go with Breece Hall. Kind of the same idea. All right, let's see. Then Worthy Flowers, DJ Moore, Dunze. Could you break them out into tiers? Let's look at running back first. Try and break this into running backs and receivers for you. Connor Chuba, Monty Swift, Jones, Harvey, Caleb Johnson, Tony P. I think it's got to go Chuba, Connor. I'll put Swift a little bit of a notch higher because I'm a Swiftie. Then Monty. Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey. Maybe RJ Harvey in front of Caleb Johnson. That's a tough tier because you're looking at like kind of the solidification of players like Chuba and Connor, Monty, even. Like the floor is very safe. The upside's maybe a bit limited. And you also have some age factoring in there, then like some injury concerns with some of those guys, like Monty coming off of his injury. Aaron Jones, you've got like the looming situation. He might lose touches of Jordan Mason. I do like Tony Pollard. I think he's a very good value here, but I like Tony Pollard because of his value and his ADP. It's not like I have him super high in terms of over these players. The guy that I like in this tier, so to speak, is DeAndre Swift. Like I think he has the most upside. But I also think that RJ Harvey and Caleb Johnson, like they are looking at maybe more limited floors, but higher upside. The issue with Harvey and Caleb Johnson for me is, well, I do like them. You still have the potential for J.K. Dobbins and or Jalen Warren to take some touches. And I do think the Steelers are a run-first offense. I don't quite think the Broncos will be. That Arthur Smith system is basically proven to be a run-first offense, even if Aaron Rodgers is coming over. So that's a very difficult tier. Like I think it's hard to kind of draft anyone over Connor or Chuba. I think I still have to put Monty third because Monty was on such a good pace last year. And I'm just high on Swift. But once again, the upside lies with Harvey or Johnson. So I would say, if you're in a position here where you're looking at these running backs, so you have the 5'6, the 5'11, 6, 7, 7, 12, 8, 1, 8, 7. So that's quite a few picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you're basically looking at rounds 5 through 7. So that still leaves you with 4 picks. Definitely depends on the rest of the roster you got here too. But I will say this tier of wide receiver is a very good tier overall. This might be a little bit against ADP. Let's go Rashee Rice. Like I said, the wide receivers in this range are really good. Like once again, you might be looking at some limited ceilings, but like you should feel good in terms of full PPR, in terms of a floor here. So Worthy, Flowers, Metcalf, DJ Moore, and Dunze as well. I think I almost have these guys in the exact order they're listed. I'm gonna put Sutton 1. We just talked about him recently in tonight's stream. I'll still put Devonta Smith 2. I think those are the two safest picks here. Those would be the two guys I feel bring the most value to your team, no matter what, regardless of running back or receiver. And then I'm going Pickens third because I think the upside is all the way there. I really like Pickens in this range. I might put Jamison Williams in front of Ridley. Like I'll take the swing and the maybe inconsistency in the upside of JMO, where Ridley I think is going to be a really good value and give you a great floor, but maybe won't have as much upside. Now Xavier Worthy's next. If you were to have Worthy in front of Ridley or JMO, I'm okay with that, especially in anticipation of Rashee Rice to miss time. Hollywood Brown is banged up, but keep in mind Xavier Worthy, is dealing with that concussion or head issue or whatever, if that worries you in some sense. But I think Worthy is arguably in front of Ridley and JMO, so he's really the only player who stretches here. And then I am going to put DJ Moore next. I don't want to undervalue DJ Moore too much here. Then Flowers, then Metcalf, then Adunze. But once again, like you got to look at some of these players might be a little bit lower ranked, but the ADP and the potential upside that they offer, like Rome Odunze, for example, might be worth monitoring a little bit heavier because of the potential for the breakout, right? And once again, DJ Moore, you got to have higher here. I think you got to let me say Sutton, Devonta, DJ Moore, Pickens, JMO, Worthy, Ridley, Flowers, Metcalf, and Dunze. But this is a tier of wide receiver that I feel like we've talked about a lot throughout the offseason that's very close. Like we're splitting hairs. And I quite frankly think the running backs are splitting hairs too. But I really like this range in the draft, regardless of situation. So for you being in a situation that isn't ideal necessarily, I wouldn't be too panicked if I were you. I think you can get a lot of really good floors across the board. River, my league is a 14-man league where we draft in person without any ADP list. So I'm hoping he falls, but I might just have to take him in the first. I'm at the 12th spot in your mock. Let's go. What's up, River? That's tough, man. Yeah, I mean, I always tell you guys the one, format that I don't feel like I have adequate experience in is IDP. So that one's tough for me. This time of year, I don't mind trying to look into it for you, but as the season goes on, I'm not going to be there. Not going to be up to speed. Like I said, I don't know. Doing an IDP league would be a lot of fun, though. Might be something to consider. I feel like A-Chain's a top 4 running back. I mean, I am a fan for sure. The upside is crazy high. He was the RB5 last year. Then in terms of fantasy points per game, he was the RB6, the RB5 in his rookie season, and fantasy points per game. So, yeah, I mean, some people want to make the argument he's a little bit dependent on the health of Tua Tagovailoa. I think I'm basically good with A-Chain no matter what. I will say I'm probably taking more of A-Chain over C-Mac. I I'm a little bit higher on A-Chain in that range. I don't think I have A-Chain ahead of Derrick Henry, though. But very close. Once again, kind of splitting hairs there. Yeah, I agree. I think he's safer than CMC. Was going to go Chase Brown, but I'm punting running back. Ooh, gets 2 rookies there. I do like JSN a lot in the third. If we're going to take advantage of the available running backs left, since there are good wide receivers out there, I do feel like wide receivers deep this year. But yeah, I like your start. Jacobs, Hampton in the third. JJ McLaurin, Hunter. So McLaurin falls a little bit in tonight's draft. Let me ask you this guys question. Let me ask you guys this question. Sorry. In terms of Terry McLaurin, like if Terry goes to another team, what does that change about Terry McLaurin for you? I mean, he's never played with a good quarterback, arguably, until last year. So outside of being like the true number one target for a team, what exactly changes in your eyes about Terry McLaurin? And what teams could he realistically land with? The Steelers apparently interested. Maybe the Niners are interested. Like, how many situations out there? Like, I feel like the Saints have no cap room. The Saints are maybe a team, the weak enough receiver room. No offense, Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed. But then it's like, I don't think they're in a situation to make that type of move. I feel like they're kind of in a rebuild. I mean, like, what teams realistically could he? The Chargers seem to be a team. Keep coming up in wide receiver news. The Bills, I mean, they've got Shakir banged up, Josh Palmer banged up now. I just don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like, was it really changed for his fantasy value? I think his fantasy value is best with Washington. But what exactly changes for you guys? Wonder if I should target higher floor since I'd be somewhat at a disadvantage starting the fifth, but having Kyler and JJ helps. So I'll be targeting running backs and receivers. And what is the exact format in that league? I mean, I know it's super flex, but is it, are you starting 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex? Or just 1 flex and 1 super flex? It's a tough pick for me. But I'm going to go DeAndre Swift. Terry Fall is crazy. I do agree. I'm still taking Terry at worst at the beginning of the fourth. And by beginning of the fourth, I mean the 4-1, which is basically the 3-12. Like, I don't value Terry McLaurin any differently. Like, if you're at a point where you've done a lot of drafts, this point in the offseason, you're trying to switch up some exposure, you want to take like more of MH or Mike Evans or Adams around there. Like, I think that's fine in theory, just in case this does really blow out of proportion. But generally, I mean, Terry is just too tough for me. He was a wide receiver 7 last year. Now, I do think that there is some regression in line for Terry McLaurin, even with the Commanders, because he did score 13 touchdowns last year, his first double-digit touchdown year. Like, I could see the touchdown regression being there for Terry, but even then, like, I don't know. I like Sutton a lot. You guys know that. I like Adams and Evans as well, but I still have Terry above those guys. To a degree, I'm probably still going Terry majority of the time over Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think, like, if this situation wasn't going on, people would be pretty confident in that as well. Jay Finnis is half PPR. All right, that does change things. My bad. I know we talked about this recently, but it's hard for me to remember from stream to stream. I would be targeting running backs, but once again, what's the format? 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, tight end premium, super flex. Okay. I like that format. It's fun. And you have 6 picks in that area. I'd probably try to keep it even. I'd probably go 3 receivers, 3 running backs, but target the running backs before the receivers because once again, I think you're kind of splitting hairs with those receivers overall. So I'm going to go Chris Godwin. I was going to go Addison or Myers. Good pick by you guys. I'll go with the top end of the running backs, and I don't think the receivers falling around there are going to hurt you too bad. But you need to be kind of targeting the receivers with the most touchdown upside. So, like, I don't know, like Sutton feels a little bit more valuable. Pickens, Devonta Smith to a degree, Ridley maybe to a degree. I think Sutton, Pickens, JMO, DJ Moore feel a little bit more valuable in that range, to me at least. But yeah, you want to start with the running backs. But I would still try to keep it even peel, 3 RBs, 3 wide receivers, because you have that double flex, and that's pretty big. If it was 1 flex, maybe just go in at running backs. I like Rasheed, but the injury scares me. Yeah, I'm less worried about the injury, more worried about the suspension personally. Yeah, I've kind of got a high risk, high reward team going over here tonight. Barkley and Ladd feel good. Rest, I mean, some people think Barkley's risky though. Rice for receiver 2 with suspension incoming is ballsy. It's definitely ballsy. Yeah, I was gonna go Devonta Smith there actually, and I feel like this is one of those situations where down the stretch it could pay off. Worthy clear concussion protocol. He did. Some people still get worried though. Yeah, I'll go over anyone who wants a team review at the end. Wario. T-Mac Worthy, Pickens, JMO, Metcalf, Sun, Ridley, Waddle, Hunter, Flowers is how I have them right now. Love that tier. I really like that tier as well. And it's really like end of the 4th through the beginning of the 6th. Like ending wherever Calvin Ridley goes, where Ridley is kind of all over the place in ADP, but I do agree that it's just a really good value, especially when you guys are looking for flex players in full PPR. Definitely really, really good. Really, really good tier overall. Emil says Green Bay. Oh, I was like, wait, what are we talking about? But Terry to Green Bay. That makes sense. That could be an interesting one as well. I just kind of feel like Green Bay is not one of these teams that will go make a move for a receiver, but it does make sense on paper. Yeah, this is one I forgot about. Debo with the hand injury. So we really need Terry there. He injured his hand while diving for a catch, his left hand. I guess it's better than the right hand. But yeah, this was a day ago. I mean, we don't even know the timeline or the severity of the injury. So it's an absolute mess. Absolute mess in Washington. He still goes at the 6-6 tonight, so it didn't really impact him in tonight's draft. Dude, we're just going all upside and risk in tonight's team. Just give me Jawan Jennings. We're going to plug in whatever we can early in the season and hope it pays off. How many players should I draft at each position? I mean, it's going to depend on your roster settings. It's going to depend on format. Say most leagues have 5 bench spots. Some only have 4. Some have more. So generally, one quarterback, one tight end. I think you can fill in throughout the season on the waivers. Maybe there's some strategies where two tight ends or two quarterbacks makes sense, but generally I'm going to avoid a strategy in which you need to draft both two quarterbacks and two tight ends. So that's going to leave you with two running backs, two wide receivers to start in your lineup. And then it depends. Do you have one flex or two flex spots? And how many bench spots do you have? But generally, you want to keep it, in my opinion, if it's full PPR. See, this is hard because I don't know the settings we're looking at here, but 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers. Hard to say without knowing the true formats here, though. Dynasty is my life. 12-team Superflex start 9. I have Mayfield and Herbie at QB. Should I trade Herbie to first and Addison or JMO for Chase and Stafford? Whew. No. No. Herbert is, I think you can argue Herbert is worth 2 first rounders easily, if not more. So we're looking at 2 firsts on top of 2 firsts, 4 first rounders, and Addison. Addison's worth at least a first rounder. Don't at me on that. Addison is not worth a second rounder. So we're looking at 5 first rounders. I mean, Addison or JMO, still both those guys are at least worth 1 first rounder. 5 first rounders for Chase and Stafford. Stafford is like dying of back soreness. I mean, is 5 first rounders what it takes to get Chase? Probably. Probably. But then, like, what are you left with your team afterwards? You know, what does your team look like? I mean, obviously, your quarterbacks, you know, will be Baker and Stafford. Then you're losing 2 firsts, and then Addison or JMO's replaced with Chase. I mean, I would just be worried. I feel like I'd rather have the safety of Herbert and Baker and still a good option at receiver in Addison or JMO. But I mean, this is probably what it takes to get Chase. It's also a bad time to trade for Chase. Like, I mean, he's at the highest value he might ever be at. I'm not saying that his value is going to be that much lower next offseason, but look at CeeDee Lamb, for example. Going into last year, Lamb would be the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty. And obviously, he has lost a little bit of value. Maybe not a lot, but I would say it's easier, given recency bias, to trade for Lamb than it is Chase right now in Dynasty. Dynasty players in the chat, let us know your guys' thoughts. Would have Baker, Stafford, Hall, CMC, Puka, Lamb, Chase, JMO, or Addison, depending on who I send, and Diggs, crafted tight end. Still have 1 first. I mean, I'll put it this way. If you want Jamar Chase, this is what it's going to take to get it. And I mean, let me think of your team here without doing the trade. Baker, Herbert, Hall, CMC, Puka, Lamb, JMO, Addison, Herbert, Diggs, Kraft. I mean, either way, like, you have a championship contending team. If you end up with Puka, Lamb, and Chase, you are contending for the given future. Not that you wouldn't be without doing the trade. I'll just say this though, like I just don't know, like with the like I'm not ultimately super worried about Stafford, but I mean Stafford played in 16 games last year and was the QB 19. Like he really wasn't a viable starter. Although Puka and Cup had injuries last year, I suppose as well. But really, like even like when everyone was back and healthy and rolling, like weeks 11 through 17, he had 19 or more fantasy points 3 times. Every other game, 15 or less, with 3 games in the fantasy playoffs where he had 9 or less fantasy points. So I think it's just a big drop off at quarterback for you. Now the appeal is Puka, Lamb, and Chase as your wide receivers or your core wide receivers. Like you know, for a very long time, you don't have to come back from that. So this is a tough decision. What are your thoughts? This is a question I'll ask you. Dynasty is my life. Where are you leaning towards? But ultimately, 5 firsts is probably what it takes to get Chase. I think that's about where I'd value this. But some people would put Herbert higher than just 2 firsts. I'm saying that's the bare minimum you can consider him. But you have a pretty good team as is. And you're contending as is, even if you don't make the trade. River, pretty sure it's a jam finger. I hope so. Hope that's all it is. Green Bay doesn't even know how to use the wide receivers they have. Yeah. I do agree on that. Got sniped on Mason and Ibuka. Yeah, I was eyeing a Mecca Ibuka. Taymon making some good picks tonight. Tommy making some good picks here. Late rounds too. Andrea making some good picks. A lot of sniping. I feel like the drafts are getting more and more competitive for sure. Should I do this? Ask Parker. I get Lad, Tet, and Alvin Kamara for Rice, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Alvin Kamara. I'm confused on that one. Hold on. Give me Baker. Lad, Tet. Is there another AK? I don't think so. Or is it just Lad, Tet, and AK for Rice, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Let me know. Let me know. Who's the back to have in Dallas? I mean, I don't think truly anybody. I think I'll probably just fight waivers for Jadon Blue if he becomes a thing. Well, I don't know. Jadon Blue drafted in 10th tonight. So I think at the lowest ADP, probably Javante. Like if he falls in a draft, then I'll probably take a shot on Javante. Tim likes Sanders for the first 4 to 5 weeks in blue. Yeah, it's just not a situation that I even really want a part of unless I'm fighting on waivers. And I think we really need to be cautious of training camp reports that say this running back got reps with the first team. It doesn't really mean anything. It just doesn't. I mean, maybe it means something. It evolves into something, sure, but like I still think that the Chiefs RB1 to start the year is going to be Isaiah Pacheco, but they've given first team reps to every running back on the team essentially. You know, I they're trying out different players with the first team. It doesn't have as much validity to it as some people might think. I feel like it's more important for wide receivers and running backs. Seems like you always end up with your guy Swift. That's my boy. Can't leave a draft without him. I'm torn. I think it's the Lampuka Chase room that I'm drooling over. I would keep the 2026 mid first I own and probably send to 2027 firsts. If it hits the fan, draft quarterback next year. That's fair. I mean, some people like the 2027 draft class for quarterbacks more. I don't know if that's something you want to think about, but then it kind of depends on where when some of these guys, um, end up declaring for the NFL draft or not. Guess I'll just go Kincaid here. Parker Mint, Chase Brown. Hold on 1 second. I mean, with a team that is truly going to contend, like you can play with some waiver wire quarterbacks. Like I was in a spot last year when Brock Purdy was hurt. I had a team with Burrow, Purdy, and Prescott. Burrow had his bye. Purdy was hurt. Prescott was on the IR. I won a matchup with Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito. I'm remembering correctly. What I mean, I doubt right now there's any quarterbacks out there, but it is a thing that can happen. Like Jameis Winston last year, Mac Jones. There are guys who come alive on the waivers. Season emerges. Man, I thought Donta Thornton might be here at the end of the draft. He's not. It's very close, but like I said, if you want Chase, that's probably what's going to do it. You just have to understand that, like, it's a big loss at quarterback, even if you're able to draft a QB in the following season. I will say, just kind of make sure you look at Stafford overall and how you feel about Stafford from a fantasy. Like this could definitely be Stafford's last year. Is there a chance you think you can trade for a different quarterback outside of Stafford, or is it Stafford and you're done? Parker, you get Ladd, AK, and Tet for Marvin Harrison Jr., Chase, and Brown. I don't think I'd do that. Ladd, MH, I think equal out here. Chase Brown, I'd rather have over Alvin Kamara. I'm still leaning Rice over Tet McMillan. I think I keep your players. It is close, but I don't think it's close enough for me. Don't know if it's close enough for me. Dylan Sampson smash at the 11-2. Not a bad pick. I feel like people are lower on the Texans running backs than we were a week ago. I also feel like quarterbacks are it's kind of not even being drafted at this point in the draft. I feel like we got a lot of teams with no quarterbacks, but maybe I'm wrong. No, just 2 teams. It's a good draft to go late round quarterback. Hate my team at the 12 so much reaching. The 12 is a tough spot to not reach at, as is the 1-1. Lad clears MH Jr. for me, not going to lie. I mean, I don't think that's crazy necessarily. I mean, I think right now I might lean Lad over MH. I think it's close enough that I would keep MH, though, because I think the rest of the trade, I'd rather have Chase Brown over Kamara, and I still am going Rice over Ted McMillan. And it's close. That part is close. For me, in terms of value, I still think like what if Lad regresses from last year, and what if MH has positive regression? And I think when all things are said and done, it's not that different. I drafted a weird team tonight. All right, final round wrapping up. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight, talking fantasy. For all the fantasy questions, you can keep them coming if you'd like. Threw together an underdog team and a great mock draft tonight. So let me know if you guys want a team review. Keenan Allen. That could be outperformed by Harris. No. No, he can't. No, he can't. No. No. I don't want to like completely count out Trey Harris, but Trey Harris still competing with Quinn Johnston and Keandre Lambert Smith. Lad's not competing with anyone here. No way. All right, let's do some team reviews. J Fitness. What's up, bro? Burrow, of course. Figures. You're good there. I'm fine with Kelsey in the 8th. Good receivers. Chase, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Pickens, Luther Burden, said Tillman. Like it, 2 kind of upside swings at the end there. Very good core wide receivers to start. Hero RB, essentially. JT in the 2nd round. Pollard, Tracy White. I mean, for a hero RB room, I don't hate this. Algier, good handcuff there at the end. So Burrow, Kelsey, Chase, Wilson, JT, Pollard, Devonta Pickens. Good enough bench. I like it. Yeah, for a double flex format, going hero RB. I like it. May pass on Kelsey there and like go receiver or maybe another running back. Swap out Luther or Said for a maybe not go Luther Burden. Go tight end, but I mean, I don't know. Splitting hairs, playing devil's advocate. Oh, don't hate Kelsey there, though. That's about it, though. No complaints. I love the fact that you're able to get JT and these 4 wide receivers to start. Tamone, the 1-3. Kyler in the 12th. Bowers and Warren, good. Bijan, Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Bigsby. Worthy, J-Mo, Olave, Pearsall, Bukba, Dewami Brown. So you already said that you're flexing Bowers with this team. So you want to go Kyler, Warren, Bijan, Chase Brown, Worthy, J-Mo, Bowers, Olave or Pearsall, maybe Bukba. I mean, I hate the running. I mean, I don't hate Warren and Bigsby as bench running backs. You don't have great running back depth, but like this is a team that you don't really need it. I would be okay with Bijan and Chase Brown as my only viable running backs. And Bigsby and Warren, I mean, I think are fine for bench running backs. You are kind of missing that like bona fide, true, safe weekly floor receiver, in my opinion. But you could have, I could think any of these guys could emerge as that option. I like that you did kind of go for upside with Worthy and JMO as opposed to like guys who would just give you a floor right there. So good team. Interesting build. Gaming with Wario at the 1-6. Jared Goff, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft, good at quarterback and tight end. Jacobs, Hampton, ETN, light at running back, but I do like Jacobs and Hampton. I think ETN's fine in the 9th. JJ, Terry, Hunter, Shakir, Kirk, Wanda Robinson, D Hop. I mean, the only thing I would do is I'm going to replace a wide receiver with a running back here. Maybe don't go Tucker Kraft. He went tight end pretty early with Andrews in the 6. Maybe pass on Kraft. I just randomly remembered Hawkinson's also hurt. The groin injury. Forgot a couple of injuries tonight. Debo, Hawkinson. It's definitely some stuff to monitor out there. But yeah, maybe if you don't go Kraft, you could go like Trey Benson or Eckler or handcuff like Garando, Tootin, Davis. But I do think Tucker's a good pick there. Goff, Andrews, Jacobs, Hampton, JJ, McLaurin, Hunter, Shakir, your starting lineup if everyone's healthy. Kirk, ETN, good bench plays. I like Robinson and Kraft on the bench. Maybe you could flex a tight end here too. But yeah, 3 running backs, 6 be a little bit shaky, although I have a lot of confidence in Jacobs and Hampton. I mean, kind of similar to Tay Moan's team where it's like you guys are relying on those early round running backs a lot here. Not awful. How's my CD start from the 1-2? Didn't mean to stack the Pats. Drake May, Hendo. How many Patriots players did you draft? Drake May, Pop Douglas, Diggs, Hendo. I mean, yeah, it is pretty heavy exposure. I mean, best ball is one thing, right? But in redraft, I still think the Patriots will be a run first team. So I don't know if I'd be going this aggressive, but maybe just they were the best players available, you know. That happens. So Drake May, I still am not confident enough to just draft Drake May at quarterback in redraft. I'm just not there. Maybe I'll be wrong. I'd rather find out. I don't think a single team took 2 quarterbacks, which is refreshing to see. So Drake May and McBride. Like I'm still probably taking Justin Fields here. I mean, like I'm not totally out on Drake May, but once again, I think it's going to be a run first offense. I kind of like JJ McCarthy because of the system a little bit more. But I mean, if Drake May's your guy, I mean, hold on. Dak Prescott. I'm taking Dak Prescott. He didn't get drafted here. Purdy not get drafted? Yeah. Very light quarterback draft. I'm going to take Purdy, Prescott, Fields, probably Stroud and Love before Drake May for sure. But you got your guy, whatever. Drake May, McBride. You're good with McBride for sure. Lamb, JSN. I'm fine with JSN there at the 3-2. Diggs, Myers, good value there. Coleman, maybe an uptick with the injuries. Bateman, good value there. Douglas, still a good value. A lot of Patriots. Harvey, Henderson, Tajay Spears, Dylan Sampson. There's just risk associated with going 3 rookie running backs. Could pay off for sure. Tajay Spears, I'm fine with in the 9th. I mean, looking at the board, you weren't really in position to draft a running back in the 6th or 7th. Like, maybe I would balance this a bit more, but it is a tough tier. Like, Harvey and Henderson probably offer the most upside there. Like maybe go Harvey, then Chuba, Harvey, then Connor, Harvey, then Monty. But I'm not going to knock you too much because that is a tough tier, and you're still kind of getting the upside of the Harvey Henderson. So I don't hate it. But yeah, I mean, we're starting Drake May, McBride, Harvey, Henderson, Lamb, JSN, Diggs, Myers. I mean, I'll say this much. Even if I am not as high on Drake May here, you can figure out especially with this draft where like there are a lot of quarterbacks that did not get drafted. No teams went 2 quarterbacks. You can figure that out on the waiver. So if Drake May is a guy you want to grab here, I'm not going to knock it. And if Harvey and Henderson pay off, this could be a really, really, really good team. And I don't think the bench is bad at all on this team. So, trying to dissect it for you, give you guys some criticism. But I could definitely see where I don't really care about the Patriots, quote unquote, stacking here, because ultimately I could definitely see where they're just the best players available to you. But yeah, I mean, the running backs hit here. I like the receivers enough here. Solid at tight end. Quarterback, I think you could figure out. So if the running backs hit, it could be a really good team. All right. Andrea. Mahomes in the 12th is a great value. And Njoku in the 8th, very good. Gibbs, Kyron. I'm okay with the Kyron Williams confidence there. Aaron Jones, Najee. Najee fell a bit. Javonte. I'm okay at this running back room. Higgins, DJ Moore, Metcalf, Addison, Kyle Williams. I don't think we've heard like anything positive out of Kyle Williams. I think I like a Rashad Bateman. I mean, not like Luther Burden's been super positive this offseason, but I think that there's more upside there. But it's a dart throw pick nonetheless. Adam Thielen, fine. Mahomes and Njoku, Gibbs, Kyron, Higgins, DJ Moore, Metcalf, Addison. I'm not against that. It's a good starting lineup. Good kind of blend of upside and floors. And you got Aaron Jones as a flex option. It's a good enough bench. I think over Najee, I'm going ETN. I'm going Dobbins. Don't get me wrong. Like Najee, if he is out there and healthy, this whole thing with the eyes blow over. Good value there. But I mean, ETN is probably going to at least start the season as the RB1. Dobbins has the most upside in that range. And once again, I think I'm going to pass on Kyle Williams there. The rest of the late round picks I won't knock you for. But the starting lineup, very solid here. Very solid. All right, Emil at the 111. Lamar, Ingram, good on both fronts there. Hero RB build, Henry, Brian Robinson, Ramondre Ford, Eckler, Chubb. I mean, I have a lot of concerns about Ramondre, Ford, Chubb, Eckler. I'm okay with in this range. You are kind of handcuffing that situation too. AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Waddle, Flowers, Hollywood. I mean, I'm out on Waddle personally. I'd rather draft Tet, Flowers, who did draft Adunze Ridley before him personally, especially Ridley. I mean, really, especially any of those guys. Hollywood's banged up, which is concerning me. I have a feeling like Hollywood Brown and the Chiefs is just never going to be a thing. But it's your 12th round pick, so I don't care. But yeah, I would say this was close for me. Like, this is one of those hero RB teams where like you're really just trying to figure out the RB2 situation throughout the season. And if you do, then you're probably fine. I'm just lower on Waddle than some people because you look at it: Lamar, Ingram, Henry, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Zay Flowers, Waddle, Brian Robinson as that RB2. As long as that RB2 situation is fine, And you do have a good starting lineup. I just prefer Waddle not in that starting lineup. Um, looking at the draft board, he drafted Ramondre and Ford. I mean, there wasn't a lot there. Like, I like Charbonnet as a really valuable handcuff, but you could get some standalone value out of Stevenson and Ford. They're just both in line to kind of lose their backfields, but we could be wrong on that. I do think Eckler was the right pick in the 11th round. I don't know. Some of the Chubb speak is starting to worry me a little bit. Getting some mixed reviews on Nick Chubb right now. But yeah, RB2 stays solid. I don't think the team is bad. All right, we got Braden's team here. Hurts in the 5th is a really good value. I like Laporta in the 6th. I mean, likely he's banged up, but could end up being a good value since he is falling to the end of the draft, I suppose. I'm worried about Jack Bash. Let's look at receivers. Amon-Ra, MH, Cup, Ayuk, Jack Bash. Yeah. I feel like we haven't heard anything about Jack Bash this offseason, which is really concerning me. And all the hype has been around Donta Thornton. Ayuk concerns me. Like, hold on. C-Mac, Judkins, Charbs, Tootin. This is I don't know. Hurts, Laporta, C-Mac, Walker, Amon-Ra, MH is fine for sure. Nothing wrong with that. But then everything after is worrisome. Judkins, self-explanatory. Cup, like I don't want to rely on Cup as a, starter in my lineup. He's okay as a potential flex, but like he's got a big role the way this team is set up. Ayuk, you're going to throw on IR and then fight on the waivers for someone else. Charbs and Tootin are fine where you took them. But I think I would have had to pass on Ayuk here. I mean, I'll say like it's not a great pool of receivers, but I still think I'm going to take Shaheed, Mooney, or Kirk there. I'm okay with Charbs and Tootin there. And then I think over Jack Bash, I like names like Demario Douglas or Sid Tillman, even Rondell Robinson more. And I don't think with having Laporta here, I'm going to go likely. I think I'm going to take one more receiver or even a running back there. I think I would pass on Judkins and go Caleb Johnson or Brian Robinson. I don't know. I mean, maybe Judkins does start the season. I don't know. So I like this core lineup here. In a double flex format, I'd be really worried with the flex options. And the single flex, it could pass. The core lineup is very good. Hurts, Laporta, Amon-Ra, MH, C-Mac, Walker. Everything else concerns me. But once again, like it's a tough spot on the board for you there. J-Dubs. What's up, bro? JD5, Loveland, Fergie. That is fine. Bucky, Connor, Jordan Mason, Jadon Blue, Rico Dowdle. Neighbors Hill, Debo, Golden, Pittman. So we're starting Jaden Daniels. Not Josh Daniels. One of the two tight ends, Bucky, Connor, Neighbors Hill. I think that the flex is a little bit up in the air here. But somebody along the lines of Debo, Matthew Golden, Pittman, and the running backs left on the screen. So once again, I like the core lineup here, and I think that like Debo could be fine week 1. Golden's probably going to be in the flex here. You might maybe start the season with Pittman if you want to see how Golden progresses, but it's fine. Sorry, I'm skipping down here. A lot of fair points in the chat. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone's team, so I'm going to skip to team review questions. All right. Can you peep my bad team? The 12. Josh Allen and Kittle. And quite frankly, it's fair enough value on both those guys there for sure. You don't need to draft another quarterback or tight end if you got those two guys. Genti, Pacheco, Scadaboo, Garando, Brashard Smith, B. Tom Tet, Jaden Reed, Trey Harris, Marvin Mims, Donta Thornton. This is an interesting team. I feel like this team actually could theoretically really work out because of the upside that Allen and Kittle bring. So Allen, Kittle, Genti, Pacheco, B. Tom Tet, Jaden Reed. If you just get one other player to fill in the flex, could work. It's be one of those teams that surprises you. But it is tough to kind of go like hero RB. And this is a pretty even keel approach. Like you have 2 running backs, 2 receivers through the first 6 rounds. You can even stretch that 3 running backs, 3 receivers through the first 8 rounds with a quarterback and tight end. When you go early quarterback and early tight end, like you got to really hit in the rest of the draft. But I mean, yeah, if Pacheco is the guy there and we get him back to what we're used to, then Allen, Kittle, Genti, Pacheco, B. Tom, Tet McMillan, Jaden Reed. And I mean, I do like Marvin Mims and Donta Thornton. You're basically just looking at handcuffs. I mean, Scadaboo's banged up right now, so could be a thing, could not be a thing. But this could be a surprising team, I think. Mainly because Josh Allen and Kittle might end up carrying you. I think Ridley's a great value. I do like Ridley where he's going. Let's see. Terry, question for redraft. Trade away Kenneth for McBride. Team is Kyler, Nico, Terry Gibbs, Chase Brown, and Njoku, Kenneth, Dak, DK Henderson, Pickens, Ford, Charbs, Najee, Ayuk. I mean, I really like Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker could be a league winner. This is a fair trade. If you want to get McBride, I think it's fine. I think your team is pretty good as is. Kyler, Nico, Terry, Gibbs, Chase Brown. I think Henderson on the bench is good. If you want to get McBride, I'm okay with it, but I'm high on Walker. I'm really high on Walker. Gibbs, Chase Brown, Walker, Henderson's a really good running back room. I like Njoku a lot. I think he's a great value, but I'd much rather have McBride for sure. For sure. Pickens, Terry, Nico. I mean, it's a good team. I will say it's half PPR, so those running backs do have a little bit more value. I think I'm running out of steam for the night. I think we're just gonna roll with the one underdog draft we already did tonight. I guess we'll roast my team real quick. This is a weird team. Baker in the 10th, Kincaid, Goddard, like we're good there. Barkley, Brees Hall, Chuba Swift. I felt like it was pretty good value for running backs in this draft. But my wide receivers are quite questionable. Ladd, Rice, Godwin, Jennings, Downs, Keenan Allen, like Rice suspension, Godwin hurt, Jennings hurt. Questionable quarterback play for Downs. Keenan Allen not on the team. Ladd is good though. But this could be a team where I think we get decent enough floors out of the tight end play here. Quarterback's fine. Barkley, Hall, fine. Ladd, fine. Figure out the wide receiver 2, and then we might flex Chuba and Swift. And we have options at wide receiver for the wide receiver 2 spot or flex option. Kind of just took what the board gave us. All right, boys and girls, I will keep you guys updated on Discord in terms of when we will be streaming and when content will be coming out. Schedule's a little bit different than I was anticipating. So I will just leave it at that. But we will be on soon. We will be streaming as often as I can. But the nights in which I stream will probably start changing a little bit. Looks like it's actually going to be Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So this week, a little bit less streams, but more streams at the end of the week. So make sure you guys are staying posted, and we will have plenty of drafts, both on Underdog and Sleeper, for you guys coming. I'm going to be doing more streams like this where we do Underdog and Sleeper drafts, so we can get kind of the best of both worlds. So make sure you guys are tuning in. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight for drafting. Like I said earlier in the stream, if you guys want to get in on the upcoming fantasy leagues for the Catch Fam community, make sure you guys send me a message on Discord. There is a $20 buy-in if you guys are interested. I'll send you a link on League Safe. Once you guys pay your $20 fee, I will send you an invite on or for Sleeper so you guys could join. There is the Discord invite if you guys need it. You guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Take the McBride deal. It is a fair deal. I think Kenneth Walker's going to have a really good season. If you want McBride, it is an okay trade 100% to go get McBride, though. All right, guys, we'll be back soon. We'll have content out this week for you guys. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Great stream. We're at about 2 hours. Got an Underdog draft in. Got a mock in, so that'll do for tonight. So I will talk to you guys soon. And that's it. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, is out here on the catch. And peace.